Okay. Good afternoon. Oh, there we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the April 9th, 2018 meeting of the Traffic and Parking Commission. If you are not satisfied with a decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. I ask for an approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
We have a first.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda's been approved. We are approving minutes from the February 12th and March 12th meeting. Has everyone received a copy of the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
First.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes of the February 12th and March 12th meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes have been approved. Okay. Going to move to approval of the consent agenda. My understanding is, before we do that, is that item J under parking regulations, if I could get someone to make a motion to remove that and indefinitely defer. That's been a request from the council member.
So moved. I'll make a motion to remove item J and indefinitely defer it.
Okay, we have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That item's been removed. Are there any other items that need to be removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, Chairman, if we could remove item B, C, D, and E from
Okay.
mandatory referrals.
All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay.
In addition, I'd like to remove items H and I on parking regulations.
Okay, you make a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to remove H and I.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Been approved. I will now read the modified consent agenda. Consent agenda 0418, mandatory referrals. Item A, proposal 2018M006AB001, a request for an ordinance authorizing the abandonment and closure of a portion of the existing Crestmore Road at the intersection of Hillsborough Pike and Crestmore Road after the completion of a realignment project at that intersection, requested by Metro Public Works applicant. Item F, proposal 2018M011AB001, a request for the abandonment of alley 931 from Clifton Avenue southward to the railroad right-of-way. Easements are to be retained, requested by Catalyst Design Group. Item G, proposal 2018M012AB001, a request for the abandonment of a portion of alley number 235 from 12th Avenue South, southwestward to dead end at 13th Avenue South. Easements are to be retained, requested by Catalyst Design Group applicant. Under traffic regulations, item K, authorized stop control at Keeneland Downs, Phase 1 at the following locations requested by Metro Public Works. 2 signs on Backstretch Boulevard at Buckpasser Avenue. 1 sign on Buckpasser Avenue at Hamilton Church Road. 1 sign on Backstretch Boulevard at Seabiscuit Drive. 1 sign on Secretariat Drive at Backstretch Boulevard. 1 sign on Buckpasser Avenue at Secretariat Drive. 1 sign on Buckpasser Court at Buckpasser Avenue. Authorized stop control in Fawn Crossing Section 2 and 3 at the following locations requested by Metro Public Works. 2 signs on Wagondale Way at Barnbrook Cove. 2 signs on Barnbrook Cove at Cottage View Lane. 1 sign on Barnbrook Cove at Clay Creek Point. 1 sign on Hamlet Hill Drive at Cottage View Lane, 2 signs on Hamlet Hill Drive at Clay Creek Point, and 1 sign on Coldfield, is that Court or Cout, at Cottage View Lane. I assume that's Court. Authorize removal of no turn on red sign on Smith Springs Road at Murfreesboro Pike, requested by Metro Public Works. Item N, authorize installation of traffic signal at Dotson Chapel Road and Riverwood Village Boulevard, requested by Gresham Smith and Partners. Item O, authorize installation of traffic signal at Dotson Chapel Road and Hoggett Ford Road, requested by Gresham Smith and Partners. Item P, authorize installation of traffic signal at Dotson Chapel Road and Bill Road, requested by Gresham Smith and Partners. The consent agenda has been read. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a first.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The consent, any opposed? The consent agenda's been passed as modified. All right. We'll go to items B, C, D, and E. Ms. Fabra.
Yes, on item B, this one is, and I don't know if you need to read it, but basically a proposal for abandonment, and it's along Crestmore Road, and it wasn't clear to me exactly where that connection was from the church property, and so I just wondered if anybody was here to speak on that, and if staff had any comments.
No, but if no one's here to speak on it, I'll recommend a deferral on that. But if you want to go through the rest of them as we do it, we might be deferring all 4 of these. Let's see
Okay.
who's here.
Okay.
All right, a request for the abandonment, item C is a request for the abandonment of a portion of Alley 572 from Jackson Street southward to Alley 549. Easements are retained, requested by Jackson Street Baptist Church.
So the second one, yes, C, my question was if there was a site plan for this. I can see how there would be a need for maybe a safety improvement there, but because there's a long north-south alley along that, I was just curious if they already had a site plan or any additional information on the design for that.
I have not seen a site plan, and those are good questions. If anyone's here, though, speak up.
Is there
Is
anybody
anyone
here?
here to speak to item C? Baptist Church, no. Item D, a request for the abandonment of a portion of Duckenwood Drive from Glenwood Avenue to Brookmead Drive. Utility easement is to be retained, requested by Vance Bryan Schaefer, applicant. Is anyone here to speak on that item? Question on it?
My concern for this one is that it's a really long block already, and so it's, Metro zoning has, I think it's a block length requirement of 1,200, and this well exceeds that. And while I don't see a road going in there today, but maybe 20 or so years that you might need that connectivity, so I just felt like it needed a second look.
Okay.
All right.
So in fact, actually, I'd really like to make a motion for disapproval on that item,
I would.
knowing that
think
they
we-
could come back in the future.
Shouldn't we hear from the other side? Chip?
I would think
I would think.
if it's a 20-year idea that you're having, 1 month might not hurt. See if the person could come in at least
Okay.
and state their case.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be fair for the applicant. Okay.
And Duncanwood, you're right. It's a unique area. It could develop very quickly.
Yeah, there's already some development happening in that area, so
Yeah.
just wanted to look at that one. Okay.
And item E, a request for the abandonment of a portion of 25th Avenue North from Clifton Avenue southward to Felicia Street. Easements are to be abandoned, requested by Catalyst Design Group. We approved F and G, which was also from Catalyst Design Group. Is this part and parcel of the same?
There are.
It looks like the second one's connected, but this one, item E, it actually connects to Felicia Street, so it's not just an alley abandonment, it's a road, abandonment, so 25th Avenue.
All right,
And I do not mind getting them in here to speak.
okay, well, I think what would be suggested would be to make a motion to defer item B, C, D, and E to May. That's my suggestion. You can do whatever you want.
I'd like to make that motion.
Yeah.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor for deferral?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. The deferral's been approved. All right. Item under parking regulations H, authorize a valet zone in front of 401 Union Street requested by Fairlane Hotel. And item I was authorize a loading zone at 120 2nd Avenue South requested by Frank May. Ms. Favreau.
Is there anyone here to speak on those?
Any comments from staff?
We did receive valet application for the 401 Union Hotel. It will be located on the south side of Union, 111 feet west of 4th Avenue North. It will operate 24/7, 6 days a week. Currently, the area is signed as a loading zone. They have made other arrangements for loading at this hotel, so therefore they're requesting a valet. And we're recommending approval, and they do have an approved valet company.
I make a motion to approve.
My only concern, though, is that because there's, a lot going on with the downtown plan, and I wanted to look closer at some of the studies where, they're talking about with a multimodal downtown plan of possibly having bike lanes or other things. I just wanted to give that a second look. So I was going to ask for a deferral.
Well, we have a motion to approve.
As the nature of anything that the commission approves, we can approve it today and come back and bring it to the commission a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, and then request it to be removed based on new developments in the area.
Okay.
We
Okay,
have a
thank you.
motion, but no second.
Well, I have one question actually now. Is that directly across from where the state shuttle drops off on the other side of the street?
I'm not familiar with the location of the state shuttle. I think the state shuttle, I think they have, I think it's closer to, it's on 4th, it's over there by Jeff Ruby's. That's where the state shuttle stop is at.
I think they often unload on Union right across from,
Okay.
essentially. So then you have the right lane closed for the state shuttle most days, and then the left lane, which currently has construction, but would now have a valet.
Right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much right where they.
You go further up from there. Come back toward,
Here on you.
you're on Union. The zone is actually on
It's on Union.
at 4.
To the
Right there where that's blocked off in
Well,
this
With
picture.
construction.
yeah, that's where the valet. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
the shuttle usually stops on the other side of the street right there. If you've ever driven on that street, that whole right lane is usually blocked.
Did you say it's currently a loading zone?
It is currently signed as a loading zone.
Where that construction is.
Where the construction is currently signed as a loading zone, we're going to convert it over to a valet zone.
The whole block?
They requested 6 spaces.
I mean, I would share Mary's concern because that's a bottleneck right now. And if you're biking, I know it because I'm usually in the right lane. You have to merge left because there's always loading on the right lane going this direction. And if we're saying that the left lane is permanently going to be a loading zone, that further adds
Hey, Corby, spin to the side she's talking about. No, by the way.
It's the other way, yeah.
No, the other way. See, I think what could be, help me. If that's valet, are they stopping in a legal spot?
And to the best of my knowledge, that is not an approved state shuttle spot.
So, everybody is kind of agreeing that we might need to just check on the situation
Right.
down there. Because we don't want 2 lanes blocked, although it has been happening, but it causes a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't want to discourage the shuttle.
Correct.
With the ride share coming downtown. But it seems to me like 6 spaces is a lot.
Standard
You know,
normally is 2 spaces, but due to the nature of this business, similar to what we've got at the Palm Restaurant, we've got 4 spaces for the Palm. So if anything, we could go back to the applicant and request it be downsized to 4 spaces instead of 6.
I think that, and if we can defer to,
Okay.
All right.
but I know there's a motion, so.
We have a motion to approve, but there's no second. Is there a second to that motion? There's no second. Would someone like to make a different motion?
I make a motion to defer.
We have a
1 month.
motion to defer. Is there a second? We have a second, okay. All in favor of deferring?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It's been deferred. Okay. Item I, the loading zone at 120 Second Avenue South, requested by Frank May. Any comments?
Can we see pictures?
If you look at the pictures right now, it's a hole in the ground because the project is still under construction. And Mr. May just simply wanted to get it to the commission while the construction was underway for the commission's consideration. There are no other loading zones in this area, so this would serve his business and other businesses also.
Is loading for Lyft, Uber, and commercial loading, or is it?
It's a commercial loading zone. And it will be 24 hours, 7 days a week. It'll be 75 feet in length.
It depends if you consider, hey, Terry, remember this argument? Are people considered freight? Remember that? The code says freight loading and unloading, but people use them for passenger loading, you know.
Right.
So I don't think that include Uber and Lyft or not.
Uber and Lyft are passenger loading and unloading.
It doesn't.
I think that's an enforcement issue.
It's
Replace
interpretation from people that make more money than we do.
product. Sorry.
There are specific places for them to unload passengers downtown. Taxi stands have their specific places, and then Uber and Lyft have places.
So is this a loading zone for where this lot is? Parking lot?
It's adjacent to that parking lot.
It does seem a little unusual to pass a loading zone before the building is there, unless it's for construction.
But
mean-
then they would just get a construction
That's true.
closure, so. Yeah, so I would make a motion to defer 1 month so we can do a little bit more research on this.
All right, we have a motion to defer. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay. All right. Under deferred business, item 1, authorized residential permit parking, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on 45th Avenue from Nebraska Avenue to Utah Avenue. It's my understanding the council member has asked for an indefinite deferral. Can we get a motion?
Move to defer.
We have a first. Is there a second? We have a first and a second. All in favor? Okay. All right. Deferred item number 2, authorize additional parking spaces for the horse-drawn carriages requested by Sugar Creek Carriage. Okay. All right, I know the carriage folks are here. Is there anyone else here concerning that matter? Okay.
Good, good.
One, 2, and the carriage, okay. All right, so what we'll do, because we'll open this up for a public hearing, and we'll ask folks to step forward. Where's to the podium. If you would step forward, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, state your name and where you live, please. Who's first?
You want for or against?
Why don't we've heard from the carriage folks, let's start with the other side first.
Why don't we hear, and help me again.
Okay.
Why don't we hear what we're proposing?
Okay.
And then they can counter.
Okay,
Counter.
that's fair. Thank you, Jim.
Is that true?
That's fine. Based on the study that KCI presented last month, we're recommending removing the carriage stand on 2nd Avenue North where it currently is signed, convert the taxi cab stands on Broadway at 2nd to a carriage taxi cab stand, and convert the loading zones on 1st Avenue to carriages and loading zones. And that is based on the KCI study that was presented last month, and this is our recommendation, staff recommendation.
Can you say that?
Yeah, we'll pull it up.
All right. What we're recommending is removing the carriage stand on 2nd Avenue North at Broadway. Install carriage stands, signs.
Where is it on there? You were there.
Yeah,
Turn. Is it north or south of Broad?
I think it's north of Broad, isn't it?
North of Broad, yes.
So go up there.
Currently, next to the Hard Rock, it is signed as taxis. We're recommending changing that to taxis and carriages. Outside of the RTA, MTA station on First Avenue, we're recommending converting that loading zone to loading zone and carriage stands.
All right, so in front of Hard Rock,
It will be carriages and taxis
In front or to the side? You're talking about down the side on Broadway?
on Broadway, yes.
Yeah, you're looking at it right there where those cabs
Right there,
are.
where the
That would be
cabs
the
are.
new proposed one.
That is proposed location.
And I've seen the circuit park there, but, I mean, I understand you guys coordinate with them, so they're parked in a different location
Right, we
now.
work with all that, yes.
And then a second location on First?
Second location is on First Avenue.
Where's that?
It's across from the Acme Feed Store, where it is currently signed as loading zone.
So do I remember that we closed off a lot as an experiment or made a lot of this like an open pedestrian area? No?
We did not do anything with that.
Oh, they did have a pilot program. Is that what you're talking about, where
I'm
they
just
painted the street?
Curious about pedestrians and how this all kind of goes together, you know, as
Right.
weather gets warmer.
By installing the taxis and the carriages over there on Broadway, this will allow ease of traffic flow for the carriages pulling out onto Broadway. And by allowing them to park on First Avenue, that will also assist with traffic flow in that area, because one of the main concerns that we've had in the past with carriages is the impeding of traffic flow.
So will there still be traffic on Broadway?
There will be traffic on Broadway,
Like
yes.
one lane each way?
they'll be where that white van is to the
Yeah.
right. And that has been a stand before in the past.
Right.
It flip-flop between horse carriages and taxis and everything else in between. So in talking with transportation licensing, they've agreed to share it, share the pavement.
Yes.
Problem with it being right there is Broadway closes so often.
So that means that when everything's working with, whether it's the pedal bars or this, you're going to have cars maybe in one lane each way and the other lanes are going to be horses or pedal bars or something slower.
Well, not officially. That's not what we're voting on today. Today
No.
we're voting on the parking area itself, changing it from taxi to where the white van is. But just as it is today, the pedal taverns and the horse carriages and Ubers and the golf carts and everybody will be in the 5 lanes of travel that you see there.
But 5
4
lanes,
lanes.
are they all?
4 lanes.
Are they-
It's 2 each direction.
Yeah.
2 westbound and 2 eastbound on Broadway, and then you have there are turn lanes at some of the intersections. And
You're saying 2 each, which is for cars and which is for the other?
it's not designated. Due to the downtown district and based on speed limits, that's what dictates where these pedal taverns, where these rickshaws and all this other stuff can go. It's based on, and the licensing committee dictates that and gives them maps of where they can and can't go. Sort of like the medium-speed vehicles, the golf carts you see, that's all dictated by speed limits and where they can go, and that's
So they could
laid
build all
out.
4 lanes.
They can be in any one of those lanes, yeah.
So it sounds to me it's a good idea not to drive it all down there. So as far as safety for pedestrians.
There's a lot going on, and there'll be times when, just due to a lot of pedestrian traffic, it'll be a need for safety purposes, just to shut Broadway down. And when that happens, they shut Broadway down, but they leave the cross streets open. So the flow of traffic is impeded as little as possible.
So when they shut Broadway down, or the horse carriages and pedal bars also shut down? Or
Yes.
they're going to sides? Okay.
We try to find them another spot up on Commerce or anywhere out of that closed footprint.
Well, I just had a question with the taxi zone. How frequently is it full of taxis? Is there available space in the taxi zone on Broadway? Right now, it looks like there's 2, but I don't know, do we look at if there's space?
It's not utilized that heavily. I'm not sure about the weekends. But,
And so how would that work? Is it just first come, first served between carriages and taxis?
yeah, that's
If it's
correct.
full of taxis, carriages just have to,
Yes.
okay. So that could be
An issue.
an issue.
Billy Fields called me on the way over here, and we might have to work with the times of day or weekends or, I don't, the carriage people, they have operating hours that may vary differently than the cabs. Cabs want to be there when the bars close, that, so. But he said he'd be willing to work with us on, if we end up having to put time restrictions on any of it.
Who's going to be responsible for monitoring that, though, if there's an issue with that? Is it downtown partnership?
And transportation licensing, and police department, sorry. We'll admit, the slow-moving vehicles and pedestrians are a concern downtown, and that's an understatement probably, but
Sounds like you just don't want to drive down. I mean, if you have to get downtown, you want to do anything other
Nora,
than drive it.
she
so
threw you a
down to
softball
the-
right there.
Yeah.
Multimodal, we want you to take buses and ride bikes.
I mean, I wouldn't bike in this either, but I
Well, we had
just
better
me.
transit.
Think Nora will pick you up in her bike.
So the pedestrian stuff is what I'm concerned about. Okay.
Okay. Commissioners, are y'all ready to hear from folks who came to speak? Okay. All right. Who would like to go first? And remember, please keep your comments 3 minutes or less.
Yes, sir. My name is John Smith. I'm the owner of Sugar Creek Carriages. And what you're proposing there with sharing the carriage stand with the taxis, we have 13 carriages permitted right now. We've got available space for 4. This is on 2nd Avenue. We're having a heck of a time right now being able to park. We have to go around the block empty. When you take that carriage stand away and you put us in front of Hard Rock with the taxis, there's 13 carriages, and I don't know how many taxis are, but I bet you there's over 50. We're not going to be able to have nowhere to park. Carriages, traditionally, they're an impulse buy. They have to be seen to be able to provide the service. We are the heritage of Tennessee, horses and mules. We provide a good historical tour. The tourists love us. If you put us back there on First Avenue, we're not going to be able to stay in business. That's what you're closing us completely out to eliminate us from being able to make a living. The taxis can do that to us too. Now, I'm pro-taxi. We get along very good with the taxis. But if you put us in there with the taxis too, they can easily drive us completely out. All they got to do is call their buddies and have them to tie up the taxi stand. It ain't going to work too good. We are going to be out of business.
I'm an operator and manager with Sugar Creek Carriages. There's also an ordinance that states for every 15 minutes our horses work, we have to sit for 10 minutes. If we can't get into the carriage stand, we're breaking an ordinance and a law. We can be fined and shut down. The taxis do use that stand every night when we're working. It is full. There's going to be no way to share that. We'd like to be able to use that as a stand and keep our stand as well on 2nd Street where we're visible. 1st Street, there's no foot traffic. We're not going to be able to get people over there to purchase carriage rides because we are an impulse buy. You don't see us, you're not going to ride, you're not going to know we're there.
There's a chance if we was able to keep the 4 slots on 2nd Avenue and implement sharing with the taxis and also on 1st Avenue, that would probably work with 13 carriages. But if you take away 2nd Avenue,
You're condemning a whole industry and putting everybody
wind up being out of business.
It's a whole industry.
And I've been there 20 years. Mike Matthews here, he's been here 22 years. He's very familiar with this also. We provide a good service here. We recommend the different retail companies. We want the tourists to have a good time. We want them to come in here, have a pleasant ride, historical value of our tour, plus spend money in these retail shops.
A lot of people don't realize, and it's starting to show in the city, on 1st Street, on 3rd Street, the 1860 mule tracks from the original trolleys are starting to show. And a lot of people that are visiting our city don't know they were even there. And we're able to point that out. As you're on that ride going down First Street, going down Third Street, hey, look, you're on a carriage on those original mule tracks that went through our city in 1860. They're still there. That's our heritage. And a lot of people are amazed that we're out there still doing this.
Referring to the mule-drawn trolleys,
Okay. Thank you for your time. Is there a person to speak next, please?
My name is Mike Matthews. I'm at 111 2nd Avenue North, and like you said, I've been there for 23 years. The Second Avenue Merchants Association unanimously voted to support the city and the gentleman's support last month. We do not want the horses on Second. We think the better plan is on Hard Rock. You've got 4 places on Second. You've got 8 plus an overflow is what the city is recommending. The law that she stated says that you have to go around, you have to rest every so often. What's happening now, you've got 13 horses out there. You've got 4 loading zones. So where are they stopping to rest? They're not. They just keep going on and on and on, around and around empty. So that's not fair to the horses. The way the city's proposed it, you've got 8 or 9 loading zones for the horses. You've got an overflow for the horses for the 4. You very seldom have 13 out there. As far as mixing with the taxis, I've been there for 23 years. Normally there's 1, maybe 2 taxis. You can even see by what you saw up here. There was 2 taxis in the loading zone. Me personally, I told you how the Second Avenue Merchants Association felt unanimous. Me personally, they're right in front of my store. The stench, the barkering, I've asked Billy Fields if he could stop the barkering. They're interfering every person that comes in my store. Hey, you want a carriage ride? Hey, you want a carriage ride? Going in and coming back out. It is a nuisance to my store. He says we can't do anything about it. It's First Amendment right. I said, fine, whatever. But we highly recommend, as Second Avenue merchants, to support the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wishes to speak next? Please step forward, state your name.
Hi, I'm Michael Elizabeth McQuillan. I work for Rock Bottom Brewery as one of the group sales managers. So I'm just here. I'm fine with it going on the other side of the street in front of Hard Rock, but we just want to make sure that it's not going in front of our storefront, as we do have dining outside. And as Mike said, with the smell and stuff, I don't think that guests would enjoy eating and drinking beer in front of, the horses and the smell. And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak on this matter? Seeing no one else to speak, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners.
Can we talk again about the time restrictions and what would be involved with that proposal?
Yes, and I know we've closed the public hearing, but we might need some info before it's over. We have to make a decision on the time. We have to have something that can be enforced. And it sounds like sharing, sharing may or may not work. So we don't want to put these guys in more of a hardship by making them decide who gets to park there, and let the legislation do that for us. I would propose, and with permission of TLC, Transportation Licensing, we could approve the 24/7 use of this area for horses, depending on the operation needs, and they can correct us. We don't need it that time, so let the cabs have it. But we've got to discern whose property it is when. So I would propose we start with the 24/7 agreement or whatever it is for the horses. We go to TLC and say, what are you going to do with these cabs? Because it is used. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to point out that the provision about carriages' hours of operation is 1254-320A, says carriages shall operate only after 6 p.m. and must leave the streets by 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. unless the Metropolitan Traffic and Parking Commission grants the carriage specific permission to operate during other hours. So I just wanted to make sure, and they can operate during any hours on weekends and holidays. So I just wanted to make sure that if you were expanding it to 24/7, which
Okay, no,
which
that's
this
good.
commission does have the authority to do, that you were doing that intentionally, which also wasn't noticed, but.
Okay, good. So that helps. So we're talking a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 days a week,
And then all day
24
on
hour
weekends and
Saturday,
holidays.
Sunday.
Yeah.
That would give the taxis the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. slot weekdays. Not great for them because they're a nighttime organization, but I'm just throwing it out there. We probably need to put time implications on the legislation. And according to Billy, he'd be okay with moving the taxis somewhere else if we need that spot for the horses.
Would it be possible to sign like a couple spots for taxis and then like basically go ahead and say which sections could be for horses so they're reserved? Or
And that's why I asked Corby to measure it. Would it come out to be about 100 feet?
How far we going? Yeah, about 100 feet.
So it could be you could just separate it in some way.
so that there's no worry about the taxis taking up all the spots or something.
And also, we currently have a taxi cab stand that's located on 2nd Avenue South at Broadway. So they can utilize that. That's already on the street, already signed.
Will this mean that there are going to be more
The number of
horse-drawn
permits does not
carriages
change. No, they're capped.
at one time?
They're capped. Your permits are capped. They will not be more on the street.
But, you know,
The
with them
loading
having
areas
4
stay
spaces on 2nd Avenue right now, where are the rest of them?
I can speak to the number of permits for the traffic and parking
Okay.
since I staff that commission as well. And so that the Transportation Licensing Commission has to make a determination that there is a public necessity and that it suits the public necessity and convenience to have additional permits for carriages. And they have indicated for a number of years running that they're reluctant to add additional carriages. I think they did add a couple of additional carriages not that long ago, but in general, they are pretty careful to make that finding that there really is a sufficient demand, that the public necessity and convenience demands more carriages before they issue permits for additional carriages to the companies that have certificates.
Do you know the number, roughly?
I mean, these folks probably would know better than I do.
Oh, the number of
Is it
permits?
13 or 14?
There's 13 carriages are permitted right now. There are 13 total.
So this would provide them with how many spaces there and on First Avenue?
How big is the horse? Now, well, it depends on what we decide on. Is it going to be half of this area? Is it going to be the whole area? 100 feet? I bet you could probably get 4 carriages in there.
No.
25 feet each.
We've got some pretty big carriages out there.
You can average the total length from the nose of the horse to the end of it. Some of the carriages are 14 foot, then you add another 5 foot for that, so you're looking right around 20 foot per carriage.
Okay. So 100 feet is probably
25 foot parking space.
And then the First Avenue would be for like the resting. Is that kind of the idea?
kind of a queue. They're kind of
Queuing area. For them to turn and come up on Broadway to pick up passengers.
And where would that be? It's across from Acme in that loading zone.
In that loading zone, yes.
I have
You can
the
probably see it.
relevant language from the code for it stands as well. In 1254-310C, it says the authorized zones, routes, and tether locations, which is actually what they call the stands in the code, although that is a little bit inaccurate. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'll just have to speak up. So the authorized zones, routes, and tether locations shall be subject to amendment as needed through consultation with the Metro Traffic and Parking Commission staff to ensure safe and efficient movement of traffic. So they've been asked to the Transportation Licensing Commission obviously normally regulates this business, but on issues that affect the safe and efficient movement of traffic, it is to be decided in consultation with traffic and parking.
I want to be clear about what we're actually voting for again, please. I want to make sure all the commissioners are clear.
We're voting for approval of a carriage stand on Broadway at 2nd Avenue where it's currently signed as taxi stand. We're asking for approval of a carriage stand on 1st Avenue across from the Acme Feed Store. And we're asking for removal of the carriage stand that is currently on 2nd Avenue North. Those are the 3 items that we're presenting to the commission.
Thank you.
May we specify the length for that area on Broadway?
I think we should.
Yes.
But if it's going to be a shared space, it should be designated where the cabs go and where the carriages go.
Here's what I would propose, and I might have messed this up. And we don't have an exact measurement of that parking bay, so it's going to be a little gray, but propose half parking of the entire length of that parking bay, which is 100 feet, give or take. Half parking by the carriages, half by cabs. The horse section be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, and 24/7 Saturday, Sunday. That's per code. The cab section be 24/7. And the only thing to figure out is how long we're talking about. And I'd say that's about 50 to 55 feet each.
And then how many spaces do they currently
almost
have
all
on
the way.
2nd? They're going to be,
They have 4
Well,
spaces
take
on
off about
2nd
30.
Avenue.
they have 4.
4.
So I think the challenge is then, you know,
About right in there, 60 feet.
it's 2 then on Broadway. And where was the other spot?
First
At
Avenue.
First Avenue, was there 1 there or 2 spaces there?
There's approximately 5 spaces there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can we look at that one more time?
First Avenue,
Yeah.
Across from Acme Corner.
across from Acme.
Oh, but they were saying they don't get the visibility there. Okay.
There's no visibility at all there.
So then it's,
Go around the corner.
Around the corner.
so more spaces, but only
More
2
spaces.
really prime spaces.
And that could be a staging area for them.
Uh-huh.
Kind of where that
And
white
when
pickup is.
carriages move out, the ones that are staged there can
Right
pull
there.
into Broadway.
Okay.
Other side. Riverside.
That-
Right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. I feel like there is a lot of good visibility
They're
there.
digging it up right now. There's still
Publicly
plates.
enclosed.
And we cannot get on the steel plates.
So that, I think staff has suggested there be a modification to the motion, to the language. So
Right.
If anyone's going to craft a motion, they can consider that one.
And I'm assuming spring is important to these
Right.
business owners, and so I'd like to work something out today. And so even if we have to go half and half on that parking bay and come back next month and say, we talked to the cabs and they don't want any of it or they want all of it, then, I don't know, but I hate to not get something resolved today for the people that keep coming back.
Well, I'd like to get the other commissioners' thoughts. I mean, do you think, just splitting it half and half with the taxis and carriages on Broadway, that'll work?
What other
Sounds
taxi?
fine.
So there's a taxi stand on 2nd. Is that the only other one in the vicinity, or there?
There's a taxi stand on 2nd Avenue. There's a taxi stand on 4th Avenue South.
No more on Broadway.
There's one, I think, on Broadway.
They occupy the loading zone at night. They kind of cruise through it.
How big is the carriage stand on 2nd Avenue? How many carriages can they get in there on 2nd Avenue? 4?
80
Currently?
Oh, I don't know. I think,
It'd be right around 80 foot.
so basically,
Total.
so basically 3 carriages can get in there?
No, you can
Or
get
4?
4.
4.
And the city's proposing that they take that one
Yes.
off of 2nd Avenue and turn it to what?
Make it loading zone 24/7 for all the
Okay.
businesses there on 2nd Avenue. There is demand for loading on 2nd Avenue.
So I see where you're going with it. Just take the 80 feet from 2nd, put it on 1st. That's a wash for the horse carriage people.
Right.
And they get the Acme
And they
one.
get the Acme one. And also, there is a carriage stand on Commerce Street at 4th that they do not utilize.
And the remaining,
That has been turned into a taxi cab stand.
That's not, we don't have that no more, Diane.
That was turned into a taxi cab stand about 3 years ago. And marked police vehicles on Commerce.
Okay.
We lost that about 3 years ago.
I have a question of the, if you had room for several carriages on Broadway, would that still allow you to pick up customers there?
Yes, that would be the only spot, actually.
That would be the only spot unless we can keep on Second as well.
Or unless, Diane, or unless they gave us back the section up there on Commerce, we can work off of that too.
But the original goal was to
Extend it so we can get all 13 carriages.
just trying to think of like what we're trying to do here overall. It's just
Based on First Avenue and Broadway, calculation in my head, that's going to give you approximately 9 spaces for carriages. And if we go back and look at the one on Commerce Street, that will get one more.
Where does Uber live down there?
Uber and Lyft works out of passenger loading zones.
Okay. On Broadway or the first, second?
Broadway,
Okay.
by Ascend, at Demumbrium on First, at Ascend. There's several locations that they work out of.
so First Avenue, Broadway between First and Second on the north side, 80-foot carriage stand, remainder cab stand. That would replicate the Second Avenue loss. First Avenue at Broadway, what length is that?
It's approximately 120 feet.
120 feet carriage stand. So that's 4, that's 10, 8 to 10 carriage spots, if you want to put.
How many tiers?
About 8 to 10, depends on, I've heard 25 and I've heard 20 is the length.
All right. Throw us out something to vote on.
Make a motion.
All right.
Go
for it.
You go for it.
To eliminate the current permitted on Second Avenue, to allow the carriages to utilize half of the space on between First and Second on Broadway, and to designate
for 80 feet.
Go ahead.
the,
The same size as the one on Second? So it'd be 80 feet.
and then have the where the loading zone is on First Avenue, to designate that for carriage parking from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and on weekends.
Sounds good.
Second.
We have a motion. Is there a second to that motion? Okay. Any discussion on this motion?
I think everybody's clear.
No further discussion. We have a first and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you, Commissioners, for working through that. Thank you, everyone who came on that. All right. The next item, new business, is ill denial of four-way stop control at South 10th Street and Fatherland Street, requested by Councilmember Brett Withers. I know you're here, Councilmember. Thank you for your patience. You would like to step forward and speak about this, please?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioners.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Do I need the
You
mic
might
on?
just have to talk loud and pretend
Just
the
talk louder?
microphone works.
All right. Well, I'm Councilmember Brett Withers. I live at 1113 Granada Avenue, and I represent District 6 on the Metro Council. We have an increasing amount of pedestrian activity as well as parking all throughout 5 Points, but in particular along South 10th. 10th for many, many years has been, I would say, sort of viewed as a cut-through to and from East Nashville. It hasn't had quite as much pedestrian activity as maybe 11th or some of the streets that you're more familiar with. But now we have more residences that are being built literally on 10th. We have businesses that are opening that face or are immediately adjacent to that. And so 10th is sort of becoming a location that is stitching the Edgefield and East End neighborhoods back together today. And there is a school as well at 10th and Fatherland that's been there for a long time. I believe this is before I served on the council, but I believe that one of the prior schools that was in that facility at 10th and Fatherland used to have a crossing guard, but they do not currently, the ones that are not there. And so it is a little bit of a scary situation for parents in particular who are trying to get their children across the 4 lanes of South 10th to get their children to and from school, as well as for the increasing number of folks that are taking advantage of parking along South 10th, trying to get across safely. We have had some incidents recently in which drivers have crashed into parked cars on the street. So it's, when you just look at how much of this increasing activity along South 10th has happened just in the last year or so and is bound to continue, it makes sense to take another look at that intersection and make sure that we can at least provide for as safe a crossing as possible, not just for pedestrians, but even for cars. It's a little scary to get across there. So long term, I've worked with the planning department and public works staff. We have some traffic calming proposals for all of Fatherland, which is called a neighbor way, which is a little bit of a traffic calming measure, which would to some degree address this corner. We are right now allowing some parking along 10th sort of as a temporary measure until such time as we figure out what the permanent arrangement would be for that street for a restriping. But for right now, we do have parking that's along there. Long term, we would want to look at restriping that street, figuring out what everyone does agree on. All of those things that would intersect at this intersection are contingent upon funding in upcoming budgets, and then we would need community engagement and installation, and that could take, even if we got it into the budget in the next year, let's say, that could take quite some time to get worked out. I think that regardless of what restriping we get agreed upon for South 10th, that we want to make sure that we have a safe crossing there for vehicles and especially for children who are going to be there. So I just feel as though I don't want to wait a year or 2 years at the optimum to get a safe crossing here when it's pretty clear that we will need folks to actually stop at that intersection regardless of what that plan looks like. I would also point out that we do have a signalized crosswalk at 10th and Woodland, but there is no other safe crossing along 10th ever. So when you get to 10th and Shelby, it gets even more precarious and dangerous. I do hear from folks there is a crosswalk across Shelby at 10th if you are hardcore that you are going to walk there for your chips or whatever you're going to buy at the grocery store. But that kind of is my point. Even when you look at other arterials along Shelby, which is an arterial, we have a signalized crosswalk, which I'm working with public works staff to improve, but at 4th, at 5th, at 6th, kind of 1.5 at 6th. We have one at 7th. We have at least a crosswalk that no one uses because it's not safe at 10th, and a traffic signal at 11th, a 4-way stop sign at 17th and at 19th. So we have quite a few, not every single block, but we have people living and working along Shelby, and we have opportunities every couple of blocks for people to get across safely. Along 11th, which is a collector, we have stop signs. We have a traffic signal at 11th. a stop sign at Fatherland, a traffic signal at Woodland, a stop sign at Forest, and then the really bizarre traffic signal at 11th. That's a collector. At 16th, which is a collector, we have stop signs at, we do not have a four-way stop sign at Shelby, but we do have one at Lillian, at Fatherland, at Holly, at Woodland, at Forest, at Ordway. So, you know, that's the idea to neighbors that we would say to them that, like, there are no circumstances under which we can have any additional crosswalks at 10th for a half a mile, it just defies logic, frankly. So with the school being present, with the additional activity that is springing up all along 10th, neighbors have been asking for a stop sign to be considered at this location for a long time, and those pleas are getting a little bit more urgent. I appreciate the staff working to place this on the agenda today so that we can go ahead and let some of the neighbors from the adjoining neighborhood association speak to y'all about that. But it is my hope today that we can go ahead and get a four-way stop sign approved while we then can continue to work on some of the other traffic calming and pedestrian safety infrastructure that we need at that intersection and all along that street. And with that, I'll rest my comments for now and let neighbors speak to you directly. And then if you have any other questions for me, please let me know.
Thank you, Councilman.
You've given us a whole lot of information. And I make a motion to approve. Unless there's anybody else wants to speak.
We have a motion that's been laid on the table. Is there a second to that motion? We have a second, a first and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I will just mention, I mean, this has been impressive how many notes and letters and everyone, I know we already see.
Let me tell you, I spared you guys a lot of emails. These guys are very passionate about their neighborhood, I'll say that.
Yes.
I sent y'all about 20 and then I quit. There's probably been 50.
Good. We got the message, for sure. And I personally think this is great, but I do think this graphic, that light's not there on 10th, it's actually 11th, I believe. But I do think these connections are really important because the school and the connection to the community center, so I applaud and glad to see this move forward. So with that.
I will say, this corridor is going to go through some changes, through some kind of traffic calming road, bikeway, something. We don't know when.
Do we know a time frame on that? Because it sounds like we're about to put a four-way stop sign at a...
We're drawing up a plan now, but we'll need that passion again when this comes up too.
Right. I mean, some of those things are in the budget potentially, and then it would take community engagement, and we're talking a year or two, even under optimal circumstances, to get that installed.
So my concern is you'll have a tendency to see accidents increase at an intersection where it's 4 lanes like that. It's 2 lanes going one direction, 2 lanes going the other direction. You put a 4-way stop there to the streets coming off the side of 10th, it's not a big issue. They've got to stop anyway. But now you have cars that are going side by side, coming down, coming to the stop sign, and they stop. And then another car's the other direction. And it has a tendency to create a confusing scenario for the motorists.
So let me just go through the spiel so you'll have something. You're going to be voting on this. I want you to see the numbers. Corey, can you have your data slide? It won't take 30 seconds. In traffic engineering world, there's your problem, the 90-10 at the top. You've heard us talk about 50-50 splits before, 60-40. A 90-10 split on a multi-lane intersection is going to create that's a good word, confusion if nothing else. You know, I stop here and there's not very many people on the side street, so do they roll through it and that kind of thing. The crossing is important though. There are a lot of people crossing there. They do have a new development on the corner on one side. They've got a school on the other corner, and they've got a residential area on the other side, and a church. I want you to see the data before you vote, that's all.
Question is, what are the plans concerning more crosswalks right at that intersection? And the other thing, driving down over the road last week, I saw a great kind of pedestrian walkway. It's close, I think, where the Walmart store is.
Welshwood.
Yes, Welshwood.
Yeah, where it's very public, there's flashing lights, it looks like there's something maybe a little raised, there's the plastic bollards. I thought, what a great idea, and just wondering, this maybe unrelated to this subject, but it seems to be related. Any other?
This would be a candidate for that, depending on the narrowing of the lanes and the road diet and the bike lanes. Of course, the school has their drop-off needs too, but yeah, little refuge areas this would be a good candidate for that.
If I may, if it pleases the commission to vote in favor of this today, which I implore you to do, or the notes will continue. But if it pleases the commission to vote in favor of the stop sign today, I would appreciate maybe an opportunity. I do have representatives here from the Richard McCoys, here from the East End Neighborhood Association, and from Edgefield. Just if we could have staff just come out and work with us a little bit more on tightening up some of that signage in the area. Signage could help some, but you know what we have discovered in other locations in East Nashville, unfortunately, is that when we have signage that says pedestrian crossing, that getting drivers actually to yield, like just to get them to slow down for pedestrians is a challenge. And so, again, that's why with adults, with young ones trying to get across the street, we feel like no matter what the long-term plans are, we need people to actually stop there. And so if it does please the commission to vote in favor of that, I would appreciate just a follow-up opportunity with staff just to look at signage in that area a little bit more when that is all connected.
We need your help on any kind of traffic calming type subject. We love to get the neighbors' input. We'd rather be your idea than ours.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Would you please, make sure the minutes reflect the comments of the council member concerning signage, so that gets into the minutes? Okay. All right, thank you. The last item, I think, Chip, you were going to provide an update.
Yeah, it's not much to update, really. We met.
51st Avenue.
Yeah, we met last week. Let's see if we met last week. I just want you guys to know that even though you haven't had a study shoved in front of you, that there is something still going on. There's some negotiations going on. There's conversation going on. The neighborhood's involved. Marathon's involved. We're all coming to the table, and I wanted you to know that we're still working some things out. Just because you haven't heard from 51st, take a break from it, because it'll be back, but hopefully with all of us handshaking and agreeing. That's all I wanted you to know.
Thank you, Chip.
Thank you for your work.
Before we adjourn, Reverend Reynolds Mitchell could not make the meeting today. He's been on the commission almost 10 years. This will be his last meeting. So even though we miss him, he's not here. So we do just would like to acknowledge his 10 years of service for the commission and all he's done to help the city of Nashville. And we thank you very much, Reverend. We're sorry we couldn't give you a personal send-off. So, thank you. And
I make a motion.
Well, we will let you know about the next meeting.
Next month's meeting will be back at Sunny West Conference Room.
All right, we did let you know.
okay. Barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All in favor, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.